Hey everyone, today we're going to see if tadpoles will eat any of this stuff. They just had the watermelon yesterday, and since they ate most of the red on it before nighttime, I didn't remove it from the ponds like I said I was going to in the video. I had a fear that a raccoon may have gone in there and discovered the tadpoles, but also a bear in the big pond would have been a problem because I was afraid his claws might have ripped the rubber liner, but that's just about gone. So today we're going to try some things. They might not be hungry for it, but I think we'll be able to see if they like any of it. Otherwise, we'll try giving them the remainder of this in a couple days. So, did I accidentally buy something here that's not bananas? I don't think I did, but these are definitely bananas. And right here we got cucumbers. I'm going to slice them the long way so they can get around it and eat it. I heard that tadpoles might like grapes, and I heard they like strawberries. Now, fruits have to be given in moderation. It's not an everyday thing. Probably 90% of the time these tadpoles are eating fish flakes and stuff like that. Now, this is okay to give them quite a bit. Now, you never really want to give animals tomatoes. Tomatoes are bad for almost every animal you can think of. You can't give the big tomato worms in your garden to your frogs or lizards, but you can buy tomato worms and give them to your frogs and lizards. Because when you buy them from a pet store or on the internet, they're not eating tomatoes, they're eating other stuff. The tomatoes make them acidic and it can hurt the animal. These are for me. So we're going to go outside right now after we slice up some of this stuff on the counter, and we're going to see what they will eat. All right, everybody, let's see about preparing them some food. Probably going to time-lapse most of this cutting video. I don't know what it is. My video editor and basically all my apps, and it's not my phone. It's everyone I know's phones lately are having glitches. Is it solar flares or something like that? Because it's been making videos very hard to do. It's mainly the time-lapse part of a video. When I time-lapse a video, it just makes the editor go nuts lately. I don't know what's causing that. So, we're not going to use up all of this stuff today. We'll try doing it another day because I'm not even sure if the tadpoles will eat all this. And we're only going to do 2 bananas because they're probably still pretty full from the watermelon, which is still in some of the ponds. And the tadpoles will probably like to eat this stuff too. Next time we go out to do this kind of stuff, I think next week I'm going to try getting them some romaine lettuce, and I think I'm going to try getting them some broccoli. I'm going to boil both of them. Lettuce, that's kind of gross, right? Boiling lettuce. But it needs to be more tender, I think, from when we did our last lettuce video. And this grapes, I'm kind of surprised about this, that it said it was okay for tadpoles because, you know, grapes will kill a lot of different animals, like dogs and stuff, or at least make them really sick. So we're going to try cutting these. I don't know how this is going to work out because they can't bite into a smooth grape. I got to maybe crush it or something. So, let's see what we can do here. Just cut up a bunch of this. I don't know. I bet just like the watermelon, this is gonna float. But I learned certain watermelon pieces after a while sink if it's just the red part. The rest of it seems to stay floating, at least for a day or two. The waterlogged watermelon that's still in the ponds, it's so mushy now. That's just gonna turn into stuff on the bottom of the pond, you know? I'm gonna let it rot away like leaves in the big pond, because it'll just turn into beneficial silt and a home for the bacteria to live in. This already seems like too much food. I probably should have done just 1 banana because, hey, you know what I gotta try out sometime? I just got in the mail, because it was 50 cents on the internet, like a finger guard you wear like a ring, so you can go chop, chop, chop really fast And if it hits it, it just slides back into the product you're trying to cut. Seems like we're good there. Now I'm probably just going to go ahead and chop a lot of the grapes up, you know? Like, all we really got to do is cut them in half. Oh, that one's sprayed everywhere. How many are going to spray? So far, only one sprayed a lot. And I learned the other day, tadpoles, you know, a tadpole is basically a vegetarian, and it survives in the wild mostly on algae, plants, and debris that falls in the water. It likes duckweed, that kind of stuff. I found out that they'll actually eat ants, and they'll eat mosquito larvae. I didn't know that. That's a good thing. We're just about done. We're gonna head out of the yard in just a moment, see if they'll eat this stuff. I bought 4 of these, and I don't know where the other one went. I must have lost it in the car or dropped it on the way in. Now, if things go correctly, well, the tadpoles will probably mostly be frogs by then. If things go correctly, we'll have our own cucumbers in the yard come a few months, unless stuff eats them. So this will go back in the refrigerator, and this will be for the tadpoles another day if they like it. Whatever's not a big hit, I'll eat. I like all these types of things. And, you know, I hate being wasteful, but I cannot start a compost pile, and I can't just throw it off the porch like I do in the wintertime. In the winter, I'll toss all this stuff off the porch. A rabbit loves banana peels. Can't do it this time of year because of the bears. If you know you got bears, it's illegal in my state to put that stuff outside. Yep. Cannot put any food outside if you knowingly know you have a bear. This stuff is not intentionally going to the bear. It's going in ponds. And so far, the bear has not showed up to fish anything out of ponds. And it's not like the bear is coming here for food. I showed it on my trail camera. It was here. No, I know it was here a month ago. Just over a month ago, and I know it was here about 5 days ago because our garbage was thrown across the yard. Other than those 2 incidents, I don't think he's coming here regularly because I've never seen him in the yard this year. Last year I saw a bear about a half a dozen times, but the good news is he's not hanging out here. So we're going to go put this stuff out in the yard now. If it wasn't for the bear, every single piece of my food scraps would get decomposed, or it would go and just be thrown outside off the porch for whatever wants to eat it. I hate food waste, but any food waste, I got to keep putting it in garbage bags now and putting ammonia in there so the bear won't go near the garbage can. It works awesome using ammonia, and people keep telling me, why don't you just put the garbage in the house? Because that's so disgusting. Alrighty, everyone, I'm about to go ahead and start giving them stuff. And while we're waiting for them to come up and get comfortable with it, which will probably take like 10 minutes for them to discover and start eating it, and once some start discovering it, a whole bunch more will start coming over. I bought this pot today at the Home Depot, real nice pot, and you see I like the ones that have the bottom where it holds a little bit of water in there instead of just draining out. I bought this today at the Dollar Tree for $1.25 plus tax, and I wonder how it'll do. I love hummingbirds, and hopefully it'll do like in the picture, a big bouquet of them by the end of summer. Now, you may be saying the middle of June's a bit late. Well, it says on here that, if I look at the back, it says right here, if you live north like me, April through July. So it'll have time to come up in this short growing season, apparently. So I'll work on this while I'm waiting for those guys. Okay, here we go. Now, you saw my last videos probably, the metal pond and the giant pond. Because they're self-sustaining, they're not very hungry. They have a lot of algae. They're probably not even going to take bites, so most of it's going to go in these 2 little ponds. One. I bet like the watermelon, they'll eat out around the seeds, but I probably should have cut them in half because of the edges. I can break them in half though. like that. We're just gonna put a couple in here, like that. There we go. Put a couple grapes in there. Grapes do not float, but that's a good thing. Stuff like the bear won't smell it. And that also means in the other ponds, which aren't as clear of water, we won't even be able to tell if anything's eating them. But we'll throw some in the other ponds anyways. The worst thing that'll happen is they'll rot away like the leaves and stuff that fall in. Here we go with the other plate. Let's see what floats in here. Do bananas float? Yep, but barely. Oh, they're already coming over to eat it. Wow, they're already eating the cucumber. Certain bananas do not. Yeah, banana doesn't float at all. This one that's floating, it's got air bubbles stuck to it. That's why. It appears the strawberry likes to float. We'll put some more banana in there. Some more strawberries. And the rest of this is for the other guys. All right, we will look back on that and see probably a feeding frenzy in like 10 minutes. Now I want to work on this pot for a little bit. All right, everybody, so this right here is about 1/3 peat moss mixed with a whole bunch of soil. Peat moss, when you get it right out of the bag, if it's dry, it'll suck moisture out of any plant, so you want to pre-moisten it, but because these haven't even sprouted yet, it'll be fine as long as I keep watering it every day. It's also been very on and off raining this week, so it's not a cylinder thing, it's like a sheet. So if I had known that, I would have got 2 of them and I would have got a long rectangular planter instead. But I think I'm just going to rip it in half and I'll plant 2 pieces of it. Does it say how far down it should go? Not seeing it, but I'll use my best judgment. I'll put it maybe like an inch deep or so into here, and we'll see what comes up in a month or 2. You know, it's been a pretty soggy week. A lot of rain and stuff. But we got to keep this thing pretty wet. Just want to soak it a ton because of that peat moss. Is this an edge? Yeah, that's an edge of it right there. So I just ripped it in half and laid it in there. So hopefully that'll be good. Yeah, I do have hummingbird feeders, and a lot of people say bears will rip those down. Never happened in the past 2 years. Never. But if it does happen, my plan is I'm going to get hooks for outside my second floor windows so the bear can't reach them. Yes, we have a feeding frenzy going. They absolutely love the cucumber. They love the banana. They love all of it. I can't really tell. Are they going after the down below? I think they are. I think they're going after those grapes. Yeah. Yeah, I think they're taking interest in it. But they love the stuff up here. Look at that. From yesterday, they're still munching on the watermelon. You see, they almost completely ate that part of it. Unless, that might have been mine that I cut off and gave to them. But you see, even their pieces are almost completely gone. They're still loving it. They're still munching on it. We'll leave it in there for a while still. Look at that. They love the cucumbers. They love the cucumber. They love the banana. And they also really like the strawberries. Look at that. They're loving it. And down below, yes, they're definitely eating. Can you see down in the water? Yeah, you can see down there, those grapes. They're all clustered around it. They're loving those. I think I'm hearing a woodpecker. Yeah. I'm so happy that they like this. Yep, another feeding frenzy. As soon as this stuff's eaten, we will put them back to their regular food for like a week. Then we'll buy those things I mentioned. Although those other things aren't the stuff that is categorized as occasional. Fruits, you should only be giving them occasionally as a treat. You know, once every now and then. Shouldn't be their main diet. None of this should be their main diet except the cucumber. That's fine to keep giving them. Broccoli and romaine lettuce is something that they also should not have a problem with eating all the time. Back there, that's iceberg lettuce, only because that store I went to at that certain time didn't have the romaine in stock. Yeah, iceberg lettuce lacks minerals, so it's like a junk food to them. On the bright side, they really don't like it. Barely anyone's eating it. I barely see anything noticeably gone. So when that starts rotting, it'll be removed from the small ponds, and the big pond, it'll be allowed to rot. Yep, look at them all just stuck on that one piece. It's really, really cute. I did not put any in the other ponds yet. We're gonna go do that now. So out of these things, what would you guys say? The strawberry looks to be the least favorite. There don't seem to be as many customers around there. I'm thinking that might be because it's the hardest thing to eat. Oh, I almost swallowed a bug. Just gotta let it soften up. Maybe if I grab it. They don't seem to be as skittish today. Yesterday they were kind of skittish. You see how I just crushed it? Now it's like, oh, it's gonna sink. Yeah, it's sinking now. Yep. But they'll eat it down below. Ooh, look at this feeding frenzy. So down below, the grape is also not a big thing either. Or maybe it's just because... Yeah, they can definitely get in there to that. But maybe if I squish it up like that, maybe they'll go after it a bit more. Tadpoles are excited. Let's go over to the other ponds now. This is the pond that is very green and pretty much self-sufficient, so we're only going to put a little piece of each one in there because they're most likely not even going to eat it. There's only like 2 dozen in there, so they're only going to get a little teeny bit of each one. Let's break that in half. Like that. Now they can get around to it pretty easily. So yeah, seeds, right? They need to dry out before they can grow. None of those seeds that I just threw in there are going to grow, right? So I doubt we're even going to see anyone eating in here since they already have tons of algae they're filling up on. All right, so in the watermelon video, you saw I flushed out that pond up there. Now this one's becoming more murky. I bet if I tested it, the ammonia levels are getting up there. So this is going to be the one that's going to get flushed for like a couple hours. We don't have well water. I mean, we don't have city water. It's well water, no chlorine. It's nice from the ground. We're going to start feeding it in there on a nice trickle so it acclimates them over a period of a few hours as it cleans it up. So take a look. They're still in here actively eating the watermelon from yesterday. And now we're going to put a bunch of this stuff in here for these guys. And we will be back to this pond in like 10 minutes. And we're going to see how much they love it. Ooh, I forgot. I got to be breaking these in half. Like that. And then, yep, I will also be back with the garden hose. This one's going to start needing a flush. That's why the water's starting to look like it's turning murky and stuff. Oh yeah, I forgot bananas sink. Unless they got air bubbles on them, yep, they're just disappearing. But I'm sure they'll eat them down there. That's where the tadpoles usually are. They're usually down on the bottom unless something attracts them up here. Yeah, you see the ones with air bubbles, we'll see guys on those. And we'll go ahead and throw some grapes in there, although we're not going to see them eating that. And the rest of these goodies, I think we're going to bring over to the big pond. And maybe because these things are so delicious, maybe they'll eat them. I'm sure some of these things are more delicious than the watermelon. But yeah, only time will tell. Here we are in the big pond. Boop, boop, boop. Now time to go do some dishes, and we'll be back out here maybe 20 minutes or so. All right, everyone, it's been about 20 minutes. This green hose, I've had it for 2 years. It's fading a little bit. It's called Flexzilla from the Home Depot. Out of all my hoses I've recently purchased, it's my favorite. Seems to be the best. I'm about to start putting that water into the pond. First, so I don't disturb what's happening. Let's see. Yep, they're absolutely loving the cucumbers. The strawberries are not that big of a hit overall. Maybe I gotta mush them up a little bit, but if I mush them up, you're not gonna see what's happening underneath the water. This is a considerably deeper pond than the first, so even with clear water conditions, not really. I don't think water skimmers eat that. I think he's just using it as a lily pad. The bananas, there are some on that banana right there, but most of the bananas have sunk. Yep, now we're gonna start putting some fresh water in. That's coming in a little bit strong. It's still getting some air out of the line. I have to have almost 200 feet of hose to get it out to this pond. It's still air coming out. Or you know what it might be? The faucet has a vent, and because it's not on full blast, it might just be letting air in. It might be. So I think I'm gonna turn that down. It's going a little bit too fast. I want it a little bit slower for acclimation purposes. Yeah, you see, you can still see a good amount of them eating. The splashing didn't really startle the majority of them. They're still eating. Before we go back to the house and turn the water down, I want to see what's happening over at the really big pond. Back to the really big pond, you can see a lot of them out there just swimming out there. I think, oh yeah, I forgot to break all these ones in half. But underwater, there's definitely a couple eating it. But like every other time, not that many takers. See out here in the mid-water, lots of pieces of banana, and there's lots of tadpoles, but they don't seem to be taking a huge interest in it. Oh, there's one taking a nibble, but just like every other time, not a huge hit in the big pond because they already have an abundance of food, and they're pretty big. They're definitely eating. You see this water's starting to get a little bit cloudy again also. So this one will probably get another 50% water change over the mosquito, over the weekend. So during the weekend, I think I'm going to give this one a flush. 50% means about 3,000 gallons of water we need to supply through this pipe to flush in, because it's about a 6,000 gallon pond. But water at the time being is plentiful. None of the wells are even close to running dry. It's been raining like crazy, and we have no water bill. So perfect setup for raising frogs. Hear that? It is air bubbles coming in from the vent. Back over to the first pond. Oh, I scared a few, but there's an absolute feast going on. Look at that. They're having a feast. Still, I can't believe the amount's still eating the watermelon after like 30-something hours. Still going nuts over the watermelon. But today's favorite, I think, is the cucumber, followed by the banana. All the sunken pieces of banana have a bunch of them eating, and they do like the strawberries. The underwater pieces have quite a few on them, but definitely today's favorite is the cucumber. I think this weekend I'm going to fish absolutely everything out of here and start fresh before the stuff starts rotting. Yep, still so many of them love the watermelon. There's a huge frenzy of them on that one piece, while there's not so many on that piece. Oh yeah, there is. Also, something else you're not noticing, and I noticed the other day with the underwater camera, there's so many on the underside of the watermelon and probably on this stuff that we just cannot see. Oh, those ones are loving that piece of banana. They're loving it. Now we're able to get really close with this 10-time optical zoom. Look at them all, just loving that. The easiest part to eat, just like the watermelon, seems to be around the seeds, and that's the part they're targeting. Let's get a close-up of the banana. Where's that? Right here. Oh, there's even a fruit fly up there eating some of it. Tadpoles are all really excited. Coming down here to the strawberry. There's a good amount of them eating it. I think once they go through the skin, that we'll have so many more. Still a little bit of lettuce eaters, but I think they're just hanging out on it like a lily pad. Good amount of them. Let's go and take a look at the watermelon. Still a ton of them on that piece. That watermelon video was one of my favorites in a while. I should do a super cut on that at some point. And look at this pond here. They're growing so slow despite having food. It's because it's a shaded pond. You know what I may end up doing? And what do you guys think in the comments? Getting them all out of this little pool and just shutting this one down. Or just replacing it with a black pond that'll conduct a little bit more heat. Or should I just leave it? Where these tadpoles were found, that would have been a problem anyways. But like I predicted, zero eating is going on, so I'm probably just going to fish that stuff out before it rots. Look at the way it's spitting. It didn't spit like that when you saw me filling up the pond yesterday, the other pond during the watermelon video, because it's close to the house. This is about 200 feet down a hill. That's why it's pulling so much with gravity, and that's why it's sucking so much air in through the vent. Still eating, but not nearly as much as before. Yeah, this pond is starting to get murky. I think I'm going to go ahead and just pull the lettuce out of there. That's not being eaten, and it's just going to rot. I'm not going to let it rot in such a small pond. Don't think that's a good idea. But I hope today's video was interesting. It's starting to get late out. We started the watermelon video at like 1 in the afternoon. It's already almost 8 o'clock. Just wanted to see if they'd eat this. I didn't even think they were going to be hungry, but this turned out to be pretty interesting. We're going to let that water there do that for like another 2 hours. Thanks for watching and have a great night.